Now, South Africa's rail infrastructure has been decimated by theft and vandalism, and now there are plans to revive the sector. Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula will give details on the recently approved National Rail Policy White Paper. Among its aims is to centralise rail infrastructure development. Let's talk now to Johannesburg Transport MMC Funzela Ngobeni. Mr. Ngobeni, good morning and thank you very much for your time. You know, when we talk of the rail sector, many are saddened by the fact that a sector which has been an integral part of the transport system and a critical catalyst, if you will, for the country's economic development is now on its knees. How did we honestly get here?
Yeah, and good morning to the viewers as well. Thank you very much for having us. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think obviously we can go back and say this happened under COVID and blame it maybe on what happened. But the truth is the rail infrastructure has been dysfunctional for many years, and this also speaks to the maintenance of it and the security as well, you know, of our passengers and commuters there. So it's been something that has been neglected, and it's really unfortunate, especially considering that majority of our people rely on it. I mean, the city of Johannesburg, it's unfortunate that in 2021 we're still talking about an apartheid spatial planning, you know, and where most of our people are located in the periphery of the city, and they rely mostly on public transport, particularly the rail, to bring them to economic activities, and that has been neglected for many years. And I'm glad to hear that the minister it's working on a plan, but again we need to ask whether this plan is going to be feasible, whether this plan will be able to be funded, and whether it's going to be sustainable. So that's where we as a city, we are concerned.
And it really is the big question here, that it's very ambitious in its intention to ensure the sector is repositioned to serve as some sort of a national backbone by 2050. But just as you stated most of the problems, do you really think we have the capital to invest to somehow correct some of those issues and ensure by 2050 we're on par?
Honestly, I mean, it's going to take a whole lot of work. I mean, we all know that the fiscal at national is shrinking. A lot of our people are unemployed. 11 million of our South Africans are unemployed today, and that has obviously affected revenue for national government in terms of taxes, and where they're going to be able to get the money to do it. It's going to be difficult, and I think that's where the private sector comes in, where we need to call on investors to come in and see how we can be able to work together with them. I think it's now very important that as government we must treat the private sector as a partner and not as an enemy. And where we are calling them all kinds of names and all that. I think we need to work with them and see where there's opportunities for them, and where we need to make sure that our people are being serviced. Because to us, what is important is it's an affordable, safe public transport, and affordable being, underlined there, because our people currently, they're spending almost 20 to 30% of their salaries on public transport. That is something that we cannot continue with. So we will work with the minister. We will work with the Gauteng province as well. We have been in engagement with them. We have made a proposal as the city of Johannesburg, and we are talking to our sister metros like Tshwane and Ekurhuleni to say, let's start working together to engage the province and national government on maybe seeing whether it's possible to devolve this responsibility of the rail network to metros, instead of it being at a national level and a provincial level. Those are discussions that we have started. We have had a conversation with MEC Mamabulo and his team. We will want to engage the National Transport Department under Minister Fikile Mbalula as well. We know that they've had these discussions with Cape Town in the past, and there's been loggerheads as well on that front. But I think it's important that we must find a sustainable solution. Whether that solution lies at local, at province, or at national, it doesn't matter. as long as it's a solution that will benefit our people, we must consider it.
And your participation at a local level will really be beneficial for ordinary citizens in these metros, because the traffic congestion right now is honestly unsustainable. So beyond just looking to engage them now, what would be some of your proposals to address these issues where we're seeing more people going back to the rail sector or assisting in the revitalization of that sector?
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, for now, we really have to continue putting pressure on them and seeking solutions. But as you know, as a city of Johannesburg, we've got 12 corridors in the city. 4 of them rely on rail transport, and the rest we are actually deploying metro buses and rear via buses as well. And we are looking as well at getting these provincial buses like Patco and others, devolve into the city as well. There's a discussion there that is at the final stage. So we are deploying this other mechanism to see that our people are being ferried on affordable transport. Rear Via it's launching a new phase now, which starts from the city of Johannesburg, the inner city. It goes to Alexander and to Sandton. It will be operational, in the second part of this year. And then we're looking at other routes as well. Metro bus as well. We're trying to turn it around as this new administration. We're identifying new routes for them that are profitable, making it a more sustainable entity as well. But that doesn't actually, help us a lot. We need this rail transport to come on board as well. As I said to you, people from Orange Farm, people from Diepsloot and Ivory Park, they need this mode of transport to ferry them for, to economic activities. So we will be putting more pressure and working with province and national. But we are running out of time, so we need solutions. And if those solutions lies at involving the private sector, bringing them on board, I think let's consider them as soon as possible.
Mr. Ngobeni, I also hear very little about the role of, or at least the impact that revitalizing this sector would have on perhaps the international commitments around climate change mitigation. Because, if we are to, at some point, look to reduce our greenhouse emissions, this is the route we should be taking. But very little is spoken about the benefits beyond the economic and beyond the convenience for ordinary citizens.
Oh, you are 100% correct. It's really unsustainable that 60% of traffic in the city of Johannesburg it's from private cars. And as you said earlier on, the congestion. It's really something that will not sustain this country, will not sustain this city, and indeed, we need to move away from that. And the only way of doing that is to bring in reliable, affordable public transport. That the taxi industry is doing its bit. I think most of our people are now using taxis, but also we need to limit that. That is why we are now moving at introducing a new phase of Rear Via, where we're going to remove close to about 3,000 taxis between on the road from between the inner city and Sandton, and bringing in buses. That will help with emission as well, and making sure that we reduce it in that area. But we need more of this. We need more of this type of solutions. We need non-motorized transport as well. Something that unfortunately, this city at the moment has not jumped into it. A lot of people are still using their cars. We have bicycle lanes around the city, but of course, people prefer to use other mode of transport at the moment, particularly because they live very far away from economic activity. So we need to look at other solutions, and there's no doubt that a rail solution it's one of them, and we need to get it right as soon as possible.
All right, Mr. Ngobeni, thank you very much for your time. That's Johannesburg Transport MMC Funzela Ngobeni.